We got camera 1, light, camera 2, camera 3, audio. All right, now we're back.
Raise it.
Yes, now we're actually rolling, but we're gonna just continue the conversation first for a little bit, just to warm up to it. But this weekend, what were you up to?
This weekend was pretty chill. I've been since I'm going for my wedding, not my wedding, my brother's wedding. That's in 2 weeks now. I've been pretty much just like, okay, what kind of shit can I get done now in order to like not stress about anything over the weekend? So pretty chill. But then
is it midterm week? Because I think for me, at least for my classes, it's midterm week.
For me, no, and I don't really have midterms with the communication classes I got. They're more so just like we have like 3 different, like a debate, a like talk about this article or something like that, and then like some other panel discussion leading thing where it's like
it's almost like a little project that you guys are doing.
Exactly. It's like as long as you show up for those, you'll be all right.
Oh.
And it's nice because he says it's like I don't care if you are here for the other days or not, but as long as you're there
as
for
long
those days,
I'm
like okay, all right, I can swing with that.
Yeah, I can do that.
So I have one of those that I'm doing tomorrow, and then I had one discussion question that I was doing yesterday. Other than that, just kind of flying by stuff. It's been nice just because it's been so gorgeous now, going on runs.
Hell yeah, it's super nice. I usually go up to the balcony on the community
commons or on the Psi complex, the C building, that 5th floor.
Oh yeah, I need to use that one a little bit more.
Those are my favorite spots. But yeah, on Sundays there's the Pearl Street Farmers Market, and I just
go to that one.
I just like going on runs by it because it's just like people are happy, people are smiling, it's gorgeous out. Like people are selling.
So did you do your 10K this last weekend?
Yeah, so I went there. It's fun. Usually I'll go either there first and then to Wash Park, or I'll go around Wash Park and then there, and then kind of up this way over to Gulch Park, whatever the park is.
Yeah, Harvard Gulch.
Yeah.
It's the one with the what is it called? The golf course in it.
Yeah.
Now, if you go one park over, if you go through like across the next street, there's this one called Ming Park or something like that, and you get a nice view of the sunset.
Dang, I never been to that one.
Yeah, it's just up on a hill. It's like a little hill.
Yeah.
And you can see the sunset or the sunrise too if you're up that early.
I'll have to go there next time.
It's literally like you go towards the last block of, you know how there's that rec center at the end of the Harvard Gulch?
Yeah.
Go to that main street and then you go to the next crossroad.
Yeah.
And you just keep going, what is that? West? Yeah, you go west and it's your first street to the left.
Yeah, because usually like I'll hit the very start of Harvard Gulch and then just take a left back to campus. So I just don't go past that. But,
it's a nice little walk over there. Because from here,
definitely.
From here, you just go straight west.
Yeah.
And you get to that park, and that's how I found it. Really, it was after work, when we were doing that overtime maintenance in the summer. I would walk all the way. I didn't want to stay here. That was the big thing this summer. I was like, I had a lot of free time, and I'm guessing you did as well after work.
Yeah.
Even though it was like 40+ hours or something like that.
Yeah.
What I would do is I would come back and I'd make my dinner, lunch, whatever you want to call it, and then I would shower, probably take a nap, and then I'd wake up and I'd have like 4 or 5 hours still.
Yeah.
And be like, what can I do?
Yeah. And like for me, I enjoy, like I'm really middle of the road, like either super introverted or extroverted, but like I'm in the middle. But I've realized I like going out and doing stuff, but almost like just doing it by myself. So it's like I just gotta get out of the house and like.
Yeah, I've gotten used to that because I've always loved to like go out with people and I'm like the social butterfly.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, it's nice being alone. Like, it's nice being able to just enjoy your stuff because then now you don't have to worry about how the other person is feeling when you're doing stuff and like that. You can just do whatever, even if you don't like it. You'll still do it. You'll still do it because you're like, there's nothing else to do.
Like when you're by yourself, it forces you to think, okay, well, what would I actually do with my time right now that I would enjoy or that I could do right now that would maybe not just be that I enjoy, but like, what else do I want to do with my life,
Yeah.
And it's like when you're by yourself or like when you're with other people, it's easy to like never even think about that stuff. But when you're by yourself, you're almost like forced to kind of go.
Yeah, you're forced to go inside.
That's why it's like a little boredom is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But looking into the quarter, you excited Do you feel stressed, motivated, anything like that?
The only stress that I'm really getting is getting stuff done by my brother's wedding, so that way that weekend is
That's the only thing.
Yeah, so like honestly after that weekend, like smooth sailing. It's like thankfully I worked really hard, so like I've got a solid GPA to where this quarter I just got to pass classes.
Hell yeah!
You know?
So the graduation is after this quarter, right?
Yeah, so I got this quarter, and then I literally just have 4 credits left. So I'm just gonna do an interterm class, like a little break,
okay.
and then I'll be done. But since there's no like winter celebration ceremony, pretty much like I'll still be graduating next spring.
With everyone.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! So you get the party and everything.
Yeah,
you get a party with everyone.
That'll be fun. I'll just have some time before.
So are you gonna be going back to KC or?
That's the plan right now. And it'd just be smart because I can move home with parents, and thankfully because I've been on RA and I came with a good scholarship that honestly, if I work hard, I could pay off my loans in like 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And so then
How much do you have in
I'll be free. I've got depending on like with the student loan cancellation with Biden.
Oh, that's right, the 20,000.
Yeah, if that falls through, or if it follows through, then I'll have about. It'll be either close to around like 10,000, which like isn't bad at all.
Yeah, that's
So
that.
Especially compared to
I've
like,
made about that much in a year.
Yeah, definitely.
As a college student, right?
Yeah.
So if you're working, and that's like working part time.
Exactly.
So I mean, if you work full time, that's easy right there.
And like if I'm at home with parents, then like I gotta find that balance of like, okay, I'm living with parents, but I still gotta do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But being rent free for a little bit is huge. And then once I am debt free, then it's like literally I could just sky's the limit.
Yeah.
You know? It's like I'm not being bogged down with anything else. So like the long term plan, the next 1 to 3 year plan is ideally like it'd just be smart to move home with parents, be rent free, pay off loans. Once I'm debt free, before I have major life responsibilities, save up a little bit and go travel. Just because for me, when COVID first hit, I was going to go study abroad to Italy.
Okay, yeah.
And so since that fell through, that's why I was like, oh man, I didn't really get that travel experience. So now it's like...
Why didn't you plan for this quarter? Because this quarter was your...
Like that's the thing though, if I did study abroad, then that would add on an extra 2 quarters.
Oh.
So by graduating early, I'm saving money. And then being able to kind of look at that experience where it's like, I'm actually real grateful I took that gap year because I learned a lot about myself, but also got the time to realize it's like, what would it look like if I did run my own business? So, like I've been able to set up and get to the point where I'm at today. And like that freedom, if I continue to build it up, would like set me up to be kind of like my ideal lifestyle in these next couple of years. So it's like my gap year was very, very key to being able to like deliberately choose this is my like this is my goal.
So it's not gonna be once you go back to Casey, it's not gonna be full-time Underdog improvement, full ship sailing, or is it gonna be kind of the similar thing as to now?
It'll be similar thing as to now.
Because that was the big question. I was like, dude, if you once you graduate, I feel like you were just gonna hit the ground running and see where it goes, right?
Yeah. So like I will, in terms of like content creation, really leaning into like YouTube and stuff like that. Because right now it's just like I'm trying to post just like 1 video every week, and right now it's kind of like 1 video every 10 days or so. So I need to hold myself a little work out for that.
It is difficult.
But it's tough because right now school and like being an RA and like that job and just that balance, it feels like here's like I want to do my own work and I want to build up my own business and I really enjoy training people and being a coach, like being a coach to other people. I find that really fulfilling. But in order to do that, it's kind of like I got all this shit in front of me that I just got to get through before I can actually do what I want to do. Right?
And the other thing about it is being an RA and also being a student is that there's no normal schedule. Like every day kind of looks different.
Exactly.
Even though it's like, we have classes on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays.
But you're doing different stuff.
But it's like the assignments are different. The things that you got to prepare for the weekend look different. So it's not a normal schedule per se.
Yeah, it's
and that's what I hate, where it's like, I'll just finish this assignment for this one class and then I'll get to editing as soon as possible. And it's like, oh no, I have a freaking, I got to write a discussion post or I got to do a project. I got to start preparing for a project or a case study and all this stuff. And it's like, I need to fit it all in because I still need to finish this.
There's always one more thing to do. Honestly.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
It's like, it's a fine balance to walk where it's like, okay, I just need to turn something in. really. It's like, I don't need to worry about being perfect for it. So the sooner I can turn something in, the sooner I can do whatever else I want to do, you know? But you're so right, because by the time I do graduate, and like if I move home and like I can just set a routine where I can just like...
Oh, it's going to be, because 8 hours you're going to be at work or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
As soon as you get home, you eat your lunch, your dinner. Mm-hmm. It's work mode. It's like you're doing your own thing, and you're gonna have those hours unless something comes up.
Yeah, and I was even thinking about that where I could work just like part time, because I really enjoy coaching people one-on-one, working in person. Although like the goal is to do it online, but still being an in-person trainer, it's like I enjoy that. Although it does limit my time, because then it's like time is the limiting factor behind it. But being able to do that part-time at like a really kind of higher-end gym, I think would be great, because not only would I get paid more at that like higher-end gym, but also just like you could theoretically get really good connections to then build that sort of like...
And also perfect the craft, because you're doing it every single day, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You only get better at training when you do it every single day, or when you do it consistently. Because I was rewatching your video of the 3 days a week.
It's all about that.
But hold on, let's actually start it off, because it's already flowing. So let me do the intro real quick. Welcome back, guys. It's another episode. We got a special guest. We're in the LWH studios, so this is the main studio, apart from my desk that we have when I do the solo episodes. But I'm very excited to bring in Brandan, a good friend of mine that I met here in school. Let me cheers you up. I need to get another drink, but we are already flowing, already going with the conversation. And Brandan, I admire this guy definitely a lot, because of, not only a lot of people don't know what content creation looks like, but this man is also a trainer, content creator, a student, and also a damn hard worker to do all this stuff. So that's one of the big reasons why I'm admired and motivated by this man every single day. Dude, honestly, I think it was on one of your stories, it was like just about getting in the training, about using the Strong app. It's like, just do the barrier for entry.
Yeah.
That's
huge.
Just walk into the gym.
Yeah.
Or do the one push-up. And now every morning when I wake up, I'm like 6:30. I'm like, fuck.
You just got to get it started.
But I got to get to the gym and just do that one. I got to do 10 jump ropes. That. Just do 10 reps of jump ropes.
That's why people most often fail, because they just don't even try it in the first place,
But I wanted to clear this up. So what exactly do you do? How would we put this on a resume if we were to put Brandan as of right now? Because I obviously I know you as the trainer, as the Underdog Improvement CEO.
Yep.
So go ahead.
I've been back and forth a lot about this, and this is stuff I've thought about over the last 6-7 years. But I started my own business as the Underdog Improvement Club, and I am the head coach. It is based around personal training and online coaching. But really, if I were to summarize it, I'm still getting a degree from college, and I'm using that within my coaching, but also just the personal training background, putting everything together. So pretty much what I've studied and what I've lived and kind of how I approach just my experience in my business is, how does our social and physical environment change us? How do we create change within other people? And then how do we create change within ourselves? And so tying that all in, the way that looks on paper with my degree is a degree in geography and communications, and then a minor in leadership. And so a lot of my geography degree isn't just like, I've taken a lot more classes around the human geography side of things, rather than just like, here's how to make a map.
You're not just using ArcGIS and stuff like that.
Exactly. I've enjoyed that, but I really tried to take more classes about specifically like public health, urban planning, and just other ways in which, like, truly the world around us, how does that impact our different lifestyles? Because you can even see that in just different cultures around the world, where people live in different like physical environments, and that has shaped their entire societies just based around the regions they live in. And so if we could take that same principle where it's like, oh, wait a minute, maybe my habits, my lifestyle right now is really just dictated by my environment around me.
And that's where I did a little research on your website. I was like, because this man also has a website, challenging the status quo of the mental and physical health. And that's another big thing that I noticed.
That's huge.
When I watch your videos. It's not just being the gym rat and being in the gym. It's about up here, like being able to consistently do it and know why you want to do it, and set up that goal for the long run.
Pretty much the way I describe that, the way I pitch that to clients is that good personal training isn't just about do this exercise, eat this food. Good personal training is almost about self-actualization in some instance. If people are coming to a personal trainer, it's not just that they want to get into the skill of powerlifting or something like that. It's more so about like, I want to be a different person.
Mm-hmm.
That idea of the different person is a better person. And that's probably going to be more than just looking different.
Yeah.
It's a mindset change. It's just a different approach to life. And hopefully
seeing things in a different lens.
It's a more meaningful and more valuable and a more personal idea of what your life would look like. Just taking more ownership, because the status quo is often just people they don't set their own values for themselves, they don't set their own standards for themselves, and so then they just adopt the status quo. Yeah. The problem with that is that the standards that we've accepted for the status quo is leading us to live unhealthy lives. Mm-hmm. And so simply by being intentional about setting our own standards and setting our own values, you can break free from that and also live a healthier and more meaningful life because you're setting your own intentions and values.
Oh yeah, because I think that another thing that I've noticed, especially when I've taken the time to watch some of your videos of the 2100 calories, what exactly that looks like.
Yeah,
dude, that reminds me of so much, because my mom, she's a gym rat as well. She's into CrossFit.
Yeah.
And she actually just had her first competition that she didn't even train for. Dude. This is the wild. So she signed up for a competition at her box gym, right? And she ended up getting, I think, 5th or 6th place, which is pretty high up, right?
So just show up and do it.
And she signed up 2 weeks before, didn't even train for like months extensively like some of the other athletes.
Yeah. And
just showed up, did it. And a lot of what, she's been learning because she's been doing this for 5 or 6 years. Like,
nice.
This is her thing. Like, she's got her own home gym or anything. So if she can't make it to the gym, she's got her own gym in the basement.
Yeah.
Like, she's dedicated.
Yeah.
But she made 5th and 6th place. And a lot of the things that she's telling me now is like, just worry about what you eat. Just worry about, you can work out 2 times a week, 3 times a week. That's fine. Oh. But even growing up, like when she just started, I was still in high school. I would be eating she took away our Lipton tea.
Yeah.
The Lipton tea is basically just sugar.
Yeah.
Took away all our cereals, and I was like, oh, this sucks. Like, nobody else's mom is doing this.
As a kid, definitely.
Yeah, and as a kid, I was like, oh, this sucks. But now I'm like, dude, now I know what to get when I have my own place.
Yeah.
I'm not buying the cereals and all this like junk food where I'm feeling tired all the day. Like, literally, my favorite snack, peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. That's classic. Man.
It's a classic. Like, even that was some people's lunches, but even then, it's like, I'm so glad my mom kind of instilled that in me, because she has that background of, she wants to perform better and use it as a performance-based diet.
Yeah.
Because she just wants to perform better and better every day in the gym.
Yeah. Like, nutrition is fundamental. It's like if you don't take care of your nutrition, you aren't going to perform how you want to perform. And
that's where I see, I'm like, okay, now I have 2 people that I can look back at. Like, my mom and Brandon, these two, whatever they're eating or whatever they're doing, if I have some questions on what I should eat, those are the first 2 people I'm going to.
And it's tough because a lot of other people our age, like, they don't care about it. And while you're young, you can kind of get away with it a little bit more.
You can, yeah.
But, it's tough to do that and, like, to be, because, if you're caring a little bit more about nutrition, you run into that social pressure where it's like, oh, if you're at like some breakfast with a bunch of friends, it's like, you know what, I'm gonna order this healthier option, do this, whatever. But like,
or not, or the big joke is like, the fuck, you got a salad at McDonald's, like
exactly.
Like that type of stuff. Like, I get it, but I don't know, you just don't go.
It's tough because like, especially at this age, a lot of people our age just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And I totally respect that. I totally understand that, and there's no reason not to do that right now. Mm-hmm. But there are other reasons to take life a little bit more serious and to take a little bit more personal accountability and responsibility around eating healthier and living healthier.
Yeah. Actually, my roommate might be coming in, so we'll probably just edit this out. But this is a perfect transition, right?
Yeah.
So now that you see your physique, and I'll put some videos on the screen. How did you get from what I saw the first year, where you're just this scrawny dude playing the bass, to now, lifting this heavy weight. What is it? Because you don't just go to the gym like once or twice to, get to this physique, right?
Like I mentioned earlier, it's like I've been doing this shit for 7-8 years, and I originally got into the gym freshman year in high school when we just had like a strength and lifting class. So it was just like you didn't have to think about anything; you just had to show up and work out.
Yeah.
We had a really good coach that he knew what he was doing, and he.
And did you go to a big high school, like one of those huge high schools?
No, it wasn't huge. And like I grew up in a small town. It's called Emporia, and so we only had one high school.
Shout out to all the what is it?
Emporia
listeners
E-town.
out there. E-town, yeah. Shout out.
Small town heroes. Honestly, coming from a small town, it's like you learn just to work with what you got, and then also you find a good work ethic, just because that's what helps you get through. And oftentimes too, in a small town, there's just less people who do things, and so you find success by just doing the things that other people don't want to do. So a lot of it was getting a different leadership roles just because no one else wanted to do it. And so I was often the one to be like, oh, I'll jump up, I'll do it, whatever. Why not? But yeah, that strength and lifting class was really that good environment for me, to where all I needed to do was show up and try and do exercises correct. And our coach was really good about, you have to have good technique, and that is the most important thing when you're starting out. Is like, who cares about the weight? And although in high school, we had like
taking
top 10
notes already.
In high school, we had like top 10 charts of like the freshman with the highest squat or whatever. And that was one of the things I really prided myself on. Is like I always had really strong legs and big legs.
So did you ever play sports in high school?
So I did.
Football, or what did you play?
I did football in 8th grade, but we lost every game except for like our last one.
Well, it's 8th grade. Then you're preteen, right?
And so I was like, I don't want to do that. But I did. I went over to individual sports and I did track and field.
Okay.
So I was a thrower.
Oh.
Because I was a little bit heftier, growing up, and so it's like if you're a little bit heftier, you just go be a thrower,
I think even though like I grew up a little bigger too, I think we have more sense of humor, dude.
I would agree with that. Because you learn to take life a little less serious.
you learn to just like not care.
I agree with you. I agree. Yeah. So I did track and field. I was a thrower, and that was a really nice competitive outlet for me because I was competitive growing up. But that like losing every game or seasons, and I played baseball and similar thing. Like that kind of really killed it for me. But in an individual environment, I really thrive. Because it's just you. So if you have that drive to push yourself. And it's just a matter of being able to show up and put in that really good effort.
Well, that's what I'm liking about tennis now too, because I played a lot of team sports growing up. I played soccer because my brother, he grew up playing soccer all the time, and now that I'm looking, I'm like, dude, these other sports would have been cool. Like I would have loved to play tennis.
Yeah.
And I've been watching the U.S. Open. I don't know if it's open or if it's still like going on, but I watched the Alcaraz and Sinner, a Spanish dude and an Italian guy, and holy crap, these guys are they're
insane.
They're not only athletic, they're agile, but they're like it's endurance based as well. Because that game lasts like 5 hours in reality.
They're fit and they're lethal. Like their serve.
Yes.
Deadly.
Yeah. But no, that was just my comment on freaking individual sports. Because now it's like those individual sports, I can really see myself trying to get better at those. Like you can push yourself even harder, as opposed to
And it's nice because it's kind of thinking about that environment, right? Okay, the environment of an individual sport versus the environment of a team sport. When you're in a team sport, you're expected to just meet whatever mark that the team needs you to do, right? And so it's
or apply the same pressure as like be fearful enough to perform where you're not the one that's messing it up. Because that was always me. That was always like I'm fearful. I'm gonna be so good that I don't want to be the one that messes it up.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to be the weakest link.
Yep.
And that was the thing that I feel like I learned out of my experience.
That's great because it teaches you to hold yourself accountable. Where it's okay, if I let myself down, I'm also letting the team down.
Yeah.
But then when you go to an individual sport, it's nice because you get to change the level to wherever you're at. And so that's a great way for you to not only kind of humble yourself, but then also be able to realize, okay, wherever I'm at, that's just completely pertainable to me. Yes, I'm going to compete against other people, but now realizing where I'm at, I'm able to really think, okay, what would progress look like from here on out? And that can be really motivating because motivation, at the end of the day, it can really come down to a sense of autonomy, sense of mastery, and also just a sense of purpose and like doing what you want to do.
Jeez, dude.
And so
Autonomy, mastery,
and purpose. So you won't be motivated if you're being forced to do something.
See, I'm taking notes, and they have the luxury of listening in and pausing and all this stuff. Hey, the only reason we got you on here is so you can get a free lesson. No, I'm just kidding. The free training.
Hey, before I really start selling out.
Hey, we're going to put an ad in the middle. We can do that,
to
dude.
send your support. Go to my Patreon.
Yeah, I'll link it, dude. I'm linking it.
Gotta get that set up. But yeah, so motivation, you can literally break it down to, if you're low on motivation, you want to be more motivated, think about what's one thing that I have control over, what's one thing that I want to do, and what's one thing that I can get better at. If you think about one of those three things, you can realize that you can take action against something, and hopefully that will at least give you inspiration to think about, okay, what are actions I could do? Because I think a lot of times the motivation is like, people just don't know what to do. And so they're looking for some external source to like tell them what to do, just because like you may not even know what's the next best step.
Or even what's possible.
Exactly.
Like you may have all the tools in front of you, it's just you don't know how to connect them.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was another big thing that I was figuring out with this stuff. It's like I have all the tools, right? I have all the lights, the cameras, and
it's like,
all this stuff. It's just how exactly can they work together?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest part. Like as we saw right now, sometimes it's not always going to work.
Yeah.
And it's not always going to work in my favor. But as long as I have the actual just raw material, I can find a way to just put it all together, right?
Yeah. So it's like if you have that end in mind, you're able to figure out how can I make this work to get there. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But back to the sport. So in high school, you played you were track and field thrower. So was that javelin or was that the?
It was discus in middle school, and then by the time we got to high school, we were able to do javelin, and I got much better at javelin than I did in discus, so I just stuck to that. And it's also fucking sick. Our mascot was the Spartans.
Ooh.
So it's like, oh yeah, we're the Spartans, and I'm throwing a javelin.
Hell
how sick is that? Right?
That's tight.
Yeah. So it was really cool. But yeah, sports it was a great way for me to just get in and be active.
Yeah.
The only problem was I wasn't, and our coach, he told us what to do, but he wasn't the best at like teaching us how to do it ourselves.
You just had to figure it out.
Think critically. So by the time I got out of high school, it was kind of like back to square one where it's like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, I did work out. I feel comfortable going to the gym. I feel confident trying new exercises and stuff like that, but I just didn't know what to do. So by the time I got out of high school, that's when I started taking more personal ownership around my own programming and just understanding, okay, what's the direction, what's my new end goal for in the gym?
And this was from the rip, but as soon as you landed here at the U.
It was, I would say fall quarter was a little bit more just like, do whatever.
Getting used to, because it is true, like you're getting used to, you're like in shock factor, you're like,
but
crap.
I still went to the gym more of a social thing, where it's just like, oh, other people are going, it's like, yeah, let's all go together, sort of, and like go and.
That's good that you had people.
Yeah, it was fun, and there was one guy who he didn't even go to school here, but he was dating the girl that lived across from me. And this guy, like 6'2", we later found out he was on steroids. And we was like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense. But dude was like, he had a fucking insane physique. And it's just like, wow, I want to look like that.
Yeah, you guys are always like, that's the dude.
Yeah, so honestly, he was a big inspiration for me. Like,
oh, okay.
God damn it, this is possible. I'm just going to get in and start working.
So how long did it take until you find out he was getting roided up?
Well, it was much later after the fact, and there's some other details around just how that came to be and learning. Great guy, though. I really looked up to him. But it was about like a year later or so.
So that's quite a bit of time.
But like, honestly, like that whole debate where it's like, oh, are people on steroids or not? It's like, I want to believe that they aren't, and I want to believe that that's possible and natural. Yeah. Because then that gives me another reason to just try.
Yeah.
And it's like, by saying, oh, they're on steroids, that's never going to be possible.
Then again,
that's just a limiting belief.
Here's that other argument where it's like, I've heard the comedians do this, and they say it with drugs as well. It's like, yeah, let all the intense sports, let's make a separate league. Let's make a separate league where they can do whatever, like just take as many drugs or enhancement, just to see what the human body is capable of, right? Because from what I've been hearing with steroids, I've never taken them, right? But it's like, you're able to go as hard in the gym, and your muscles recover so that you can able to do it again the next day. Right?
That's the key.
That's what the steroid does, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, holy crap! If you can go balls to the wall one day and then do that 5 days out of the week, your muscles are gonna obviously they're gonna
exactly
get huge.
Yeah, it's that recovery aspect that steroids allow you to just you can handle so much more stress and so much more like placed on your body. As a natural, you're still able to elicit that much like just sheer energy. Like you're still able to push yourself so much farther than you think you are. You know, and like it's like that David Goggins role where it's like.
You've been reading that book?
I have been reading. I really like his stories.
Oh my goodness!
That 40% rule he says is like the time you think you're about to give up, you're probably only about 40% of the way of like what you can truly do. You know, and it's like steroids
I've
are
heard
not.
some crazy Goggins stories.
He is an extremist in every degree.
Yeah.
So like he is not a healthy idea of like long-term habits and just lifestyle.
But he's just badass.
That example. What can the human do?
Yeah.
You know, he's an example of that.
He's definitely that.
Yeah.
Have you heard some of the Joe Rogan podcasts or
definitely.
he's on there?
Yeah, he talks about all those stories in his book, whereas just like he talks about it in another degree, where it's like the sheer amount of discipline, but also there's a really interesting psychology factor to it where you can perceive the same thing two different ways. And so if you're perceiving exercise as something like a threat or just something to endure, something that you hate, you aren't going to go as far as if you take it on as a challenge instead. And so David Goggins, what he does in his book, he says, you know what, I want to make this as hard as possible because that means I will be a more badass motherfucker out of it.
Yeah.
And so he says, you know what, I thrive off of that. I want it to be harder. And if you, every time like his commanding officer would tell him like, you got to do it harder, he would do it with a smile. And he said that it was his goal to make his commander be annoyed of him because of how
hard he was going.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he calls that taking souls.
It's like, I'm fucking taking souls.
It's kind of badass.
Yo, hell yeah.
You know? And like, what a cool sort of just like, it'd be cool to like doing that in life to some point where it's like, simply by doing what you're doing, you aren't allowing other people to get under your skin. And by you just simply persevering, you're able to actually flip the script on them and they get annoyed of how
motivated and how driven you are.
Yeah,
how driven you are.
Yeah, it's like the main thing, like people want to get under your skin, but it's up to you if they do that or not at the end of the day.
Well, that's what I hope you do to many people with the underdog improvement.
Hey, that's because the goal, you know.
Because it does. Sometimes you don't notice it, and even at this size, like especially me as doing the podcast, it's like I don't see the comments or I don't see the likes yet, but I know people are talking about it. They're like, I know that kid. I know.
Same here.
Right?
Yeah,
I know they're talking about it, but they're not liking, they're not sharing, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep being here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here every week, like you said. I can't wait to see the 100th episode, the 500th episode, the 600th episode, right?
And the ones that do though, that you get that good connection with, and people, they not only hear what you're saying, but it's resonating with them as well. There's been certain times throughout this last year, just by being continually more consistent, that like I've gotten some messages just from like people that I knew growing up, where like they just say it's like, dude, you are inspiring me, and to think like I see those messages and I'm just like, how the hell am I the one doing this now? And it's just like
you never think you never set out to be the person.
Yeah,
right? You just set out to be doing something.
Some of these people, like back growing up, it's like, dude, I looked up to you. I wanted to be like you at some point. And for you to say that now you're inspired by me and what I'm doing,
it turns the switch. It's like
I could die happy. You know, it's like that's the goal in life, to like feel fulfilled by what you're doing, and also to feel like what you're doing is resonating with others. It's like that feels good.
It does. It definitely, and I mean that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I do it, to get people talking about it and to feel motivated to do it. Right?
And like there's a part of you that like you just enjoy doing this, and you just enjoy talking with people. It's like you can tell. I think especially within communication majors, like sometimes, like there's just people that enjoy understanding how other people think and just like talking with other people, and like you're definitely one of those people. Yeah,
because I mean, even as we were, because I was just thinking about it, I was going over my notes of what we're going to talk about, and I was going over the script. I was like, dude, me and Brandan have never really hung out outside of school.
No, but we have a good
But
connection.
in classes, like if I ever see you by, like, okay, I'm gonna talk to this dude. I gotta talk to him because I just gotta check up on him, And even when we were working at down in Towers and all that, it was the same thing. I had to see you every single day. And
Yeah.
stop, chit chat, whatever.
And it was more than just a, hey, how are you? Good.
No, yeah, and
you know?
that's another thing that I'm noticing now with comm classes. It's like, I hate the unspoken rule, and even other classes. I hate the unspoken rule when you get into a class. Everyone does this.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone does this, and they're just sitting there, and they're like,
yeah, dude, seriously.
I want to be cooler than you because I don't want to talk to you, and I don't want to reach out to you, right?
I don't even
feel
think it's
more.
that.
That's personally what I feel, but then I try to just cut the tension. I cut the, well, how do they put it? They cut the
break the ice. Sort of
break the ice in the room. But there's a bar. I know it went super clean. I cut the tension in the room like a butter knife or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I try to dissolve that break the ice by just saying like, hey, what's good? What are you up to later today?
Yeah.
You know, like that's probably like a catchphrase by now. Like everyone that I talk to is like, oh, what are you up to later today?
Yeah.
Right? Because with that, then people are like, oh shit.
Oh,
I can actually talk to people. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think really it's just people, especially I think COVID maybe made this worse, that there's just a lot more social anxiety to connect with other people. And so it's so much easier to just, I'll just go on my phone. You know, I can ignore other people. But yeah, if you ever notice when I post it on my journal, my habit tracker, there's one tab that I just wrote down avoidance. And so every day, it's kind of not like, it's not like a specific thing that I do that day, but it's, okay, did I make an effort to overcome my avoiding personality? And like,
so you say you're pretty introverted, huh?
Not necessarily introverted, but just like, so some deeper psychology here. Growing up with my twin brother, he has ADD and dyslexia. Like, truly, he had special needs, quote unquote. He just needed a lot more attention than I did. And so the way I responded to that as a kid is I learned that, okay, if I kind of am able to meet my basic needs, but then kind of detach beyond that, that means that my parents could give him more attention than the attention that he needs. And so
you were a lot more self-reliant, you'd say. You
Yes.
said you probably grew up a little more like, okay, I am able to handle my own because
Yeah.
I know my brother. No disrespect, but I know my brother. He needs the help, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna take care of myself so I can help my parents.
Yeah, and as a kid, I wouldn't be able to tell you that, but I definitely behaved that way. And so I just learned to kind of keep quiet, if I was maybe having, like, if I really needed something like food and just like other stuff like that. But in order to, like, I'm still figuring this shit out, honestly, but being able to just think about what are some automatic habits that I had ingrained in me from a kid where I learned to not be that one to kind of break that tension or voice up or like almost just go out for that need for connection, where I think as a kid I learned to kind of like take that down a notch because that would be taken away from just the needs that my brother had. But now being able to grow up and become a fully actualized adult, it's like I still need to advocate for my own needs, and not just needs, but wants, and like wants for relationship connections and stuff like that. So being able to being able to look at that in terms of like even just like relationships and talking to girls that I find attractive,
Perfect that you bring it up, my boy.
Seriously.
Perfect that you bring it up. That's
So, like,
one of the topics.
That's like the big leap, right?
Yeah.
But the small version of that is simply just talking to people without looking at my phone. So the more I can treat that as a habit where it's like, okay, if I can avoid just going to my phone as a way to escape or avoid this interaction, I can build up that strength.
You're just kind of building that kind of that leather skin where it's like if something goes wrong, then you're able to just brush it off and it doesn't affect you as hard as it did.
Yeah. I kind of frame it where success and confidence is our relationship to failure. And it's about being able to still show up after that failure, knowing I'll be able to handle whatever comes next.
Dude, I love failing, honestly.
Yeah, and like that's the thing though. But you can fail in two different ways. Where you can fail to where you just don't even try at all.
Yeah,
and that's failure. But you can also try and you can miss the mark, and that's failure in another instance. But when you try, you learn from that. But if you never try in the first place, you're never gonna learn.
Yeah.
And so being able to look at failure in that way, where you can also say, okay, you know what? It's not even about getting the growth number, but it's about simply just trying in the first place.
Yeah.
Because if I don't try, I'm never gonna get the number, but I'm also never gonna be able to break out of that avoided
or
personality.
even not even know what was the factor that she said no, right? Because if you do end up going with her, there could be a multitude of reasons why she said no, or why she denied the date, or why she denied the number, right?
Yeah.
It's not always going to be you. It could be her. It could be the situation. It's the thing that's in. That's one of the things. It's like you got to do it enough to where you got to recognize, like, okay, maybe there's different factors that you can't control.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's funny because back to high school, one of the main reasons I found such a drive in the gym and I found
was because of girl.
It's because of girl.
Yo, that was me too.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And so it's like I was really involved in high school. I was one of the top level per grade.
You were a leader, right? Everyone looked up to you. They were saying, this is a good kid.
Perfect grades, and on paper, I was like, wow, yeah, no, this is a great high schooler. Uh-huh. But I wasn't necessarily someone to date, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I struggled to not just be the nice guy, but I struggled to kind of advocate to also build a relationship outside of just saying yes, whatever you want, sort of thing. So I struggled in that instance, but then also I was.
Dude, we're more alike than we've probably.
Seriously, and because I was a little bit hefty, So there was this girl that I really liked, and she was dating a guy who was really into sports and in great shape and stuff like that. Uh-huh. So I was like, all right, well, if I'm comparing myself to him, which isn't something you should necessarily do, but looking at myself, it's like, okay, if I was a better version of myself that someone would be more likely to date, or what would that better version of myself in a relationship look like? Maybe that's someone in better shape. More athletic or whatever. And so that's what really drove me. It's like, that's the problem.
And I'm going to get to it.
Get in the gym is the solution. So let's get to it. And that's what really drove me again back in college was after that fall quarter where I made some really good friends and stuff like that, but I found myself in a similar scenario where it's like, I'm just not having the sort of luck with girls that I wanted to,
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, well, one thing that I can do about that is get in better shape and go, just because as arbitrary as that is, and as with body positive movements and fat acceptance movements, you can say what you want, but I've not found more personal confidence, and or just success or being treated better by others than when I got into better shape.
Mm-hmm. And I will second that, because that was another question that I had. Now that you're looking at yourself, you have a pretty good physique, dude. I'm looking at you holy shit, this guy's
no, especially
Sparta, right? This was from Sparta.
When I'm in the gym and I'm getting a pump, it's
uh-huh.
There's certain times where it's holy shit, dude, I'm surprised myself. I'm at that point now where it's hell yeah, I feel damn good.
Uh-huh.
I fucking made it, So it's
and that's good
cool to see that progress pay off. But it's I've only gotten to this point because I've been consistent since freshman year.
Mm-hmm. It's not one of those scams where it's you can do it in 6 months. No.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely not. And I don't believe that anyone will.
And that's what my coaching is all about too at the end of the day, where it's not about 6 week, 8 week, 10, 12 week program. No, but let's figure out something.
And it's not because you're just trying to charge them either.
Exactly.
It's because that's the way you found results, and that's the best way you have found results.
So at the very minimum, let's spend 4 weeks to just figure out a foundation of a different exercise routine and just healthy habits that you can always come back to.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, when you are low in motivation and or you just don't know what to do, you can know what to come back to and what will work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you can get some great results if you're just doing that foundation routine. But, there's certain times you'll be more motivated and less motivated. So when you're feeling more motivated, hey, let's do more. Mm-hmm. If you do want to make those sick progress that, a lot of people, quote unquote, say they made in that, that 10-week program.
Yeah.
It's we can push for that. We can definitely strive to do that. But, at the end of the day, we need to realize that once you're done with that program,
you're just going to go back to your old habits.
And so oftentimes people don't even have that foundation in place. So let's figure that out. And then not only would we, after having that figured out, we would probably be more successful in that more motivated or that more stringent period where we're dieting is a little bit more picky, or just pushing yourself a little bit more in the gym, that we know, okay, if this isn't working, we can still always come back to square one, that foundation. But so many people don't even have that. And I think maybe that's just a symptom of American society where it's all or nothing sort of mindset.
Yeah.
It's kind of
or even you were saying in one of your videos, it's just the education on health.
Exactly.
You don't get taught, that's what I was saying. You don't get taught this in school. You have to have someone in your life that actually knows about this stuff or cares about this stuff the way, my mom or you, that they already know what the repercussions are if you don't change.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And it's like while we're young too, you know, I think it's really tough to see social movements saying like you're perfect just the way you are, because if we're young, we ideally have like 70, 80 years to where we could be so much more than we are right now. And I think it's just, it not only is saying you're perfect just the way you are,
it's dismissing the fact that there's room for improvement.
It is that, but then also it's completely ignoring the reality that it's like, okay, you're 20 years old, you don't necessarily have like a professional job set up. You maybe have a lot of internal like self-development problems that you haven't sorted out yet. You know, maybe you don't necessarily have really good family relationships. Maybe, you know, there could be a lot going wrong with you right now.
Yeah.
Are you really gonna settle like with that in some instance where it's like, are you gonna say that's perfect? I don't think so.
I wouldn't.
And it's just, we can live so much better lives at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to detach from that status quo that says, okay, this is what healthy is. Healthy is just being able to show up for work. Healthy is so much more than that. You know, a good life is being able to have the capacity for full living. That's how I want to define it.
I want to live, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to live the life that, like, the stories that Hemingway had, you know, like...
Yeah, some classics, man.
Like killing a freaking lion, or like, you know, living in the war or something like that, where you look back in like 60 years and you ask an old man for wisdom, and you look at this guy and he has wisdom. I want to be that guy, the white beard and gray hair, right?
We want life to be an adventure.
Exactly. I want to be like in the pirate ships, you know. I want my story to be like, oh, this guy was like Jack Sparrow, you know, like you know, he was doing shit.
Yeah, and you can't have that by just settling for the status quo in today's world.
But back to the relationships, because this was another topic that I was actually interested in. So, from being here at DU, have you had any serious relationships, or has it just been, you know,
nothing?
We're gonna be friends.
Nothing serious. Part of that is just because it's like I don't know what I want, so like that's tough to figure out and go along the way.
Because even, and the reason I bring this up is because on my last podcast, I said that I was on Tinder, so I'm like. I'm continuing this conversation. I because it's spooky season. This is the time where it's like girls are coming out and they want to be in a relationship and they want to be have time.
And I was talking to my sister about this just Monday or Tuesday, where it's like, you know, fall is like that cuffing season where it's like, I feel like that's something on everyone's mind that like,
but it's just, I think it's coming from that fear of like, I got to bring someone home for Christmas.
Exactly. And so, you know, that's another thing where, my brother's getting married in 2 weeks, and being the best man, but like also going as a bachelor and not having a +1 is kind of like, it does give me a little bit of stress to think about, but like at the end of the day, you know, it does matter, but it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? And
socially at the wedding, it does matter.
Yes,
technically,
exactly. You know,
but realistically,
in the grand scheme of things, no, it doesn't. And I'm also not one to really force any like fake relationships just for show, or also like right now, like I was saying, it's like I don't really know what sort of relationship I want. I definitely don't want just like one night stands and just sit around and like having these like instant gratification.
Because it's a lot of stress even with those too.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Because you gotta be like, okay, I gotta do this. Is they do this? Exactly. And you gotta plan the situation where it's like, okay, I gotta be like basically a host. You're almost a host. You're inviting them in, and you're like, okay, I gotta make this situation where it's like they feel invited in.
There's a lot more that could go wrong.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And not to say that there isn't a lot that could already go wrong with just a long-term relationship, but it's just not worth it. And I would also just feel like absolute kind of dirtbag, just to like, I don't know, especially like just going to a partying scene and just like, oh, you know, we had a really good vibe going, and you know, let's go hang out, you know, somewhere a little bit more comfortable, and just like.
And then never call her.
Yeah, you know, and it's just like that just feels so sleazy to me. And it just, I've spent so much these last 40 years just really trying to figure out, okay, what would living authentically and like being the person I truly want to be, to where I don't need to put on an act. You know, what would that look like? And so for me to do that, it would almost feel like I'm kind of reverting on all this hard work that I've done to like improve myself in some instance. And it's just like
you're failing yourself. You feel like
exactly, you know, and it's like I don't want to kind of sacrificing my standards where it's like I do want a long-term relationship.
Yeah, because it's a beautiful thing. I mean, especially if I grew up with, you know, both my parents being together.
Yeah, same here.
And looking at that now, where me and my brother are both out of the house, they don't have to worry about anything. They can really just get to know themselves because they never had that time to do when they were having kids.
Exactly.
So now it's like this is where their relationship is actually going to grow. Like I would love to do that, right?
Yeah, and I just think there's so much good in fulfillment. You know, not just like this instant gratification. But a true long-term fulfillment, happiness that can come from a long-term relationship.
Dude, we're romantics for sure.
We are.
We're
really
romantics
at the end
for
of
sure.
it. You know, it's like it's tough to see because, like I mentioned earlier, so many people at our age just want to have fun, and that's completely okay. And I totally realize that like it's not a priority for people to have long-term relationships when realizing it's like okay, we have to have a lot of other stuff figured out to kind of make that
Dude, you gotta start looking for a house. Like that's on your mind like right now.
Job.
For me right now, it's house and job.
And I know like I'm truly an optimist at the end of the day, but like a common thing people are saying is like climate change is like, oh, we aren't gonna have a future to really like raise kids in, and it's just like I still want to make the attempt to do that.
Exactly, yeah, me too.
Know? But when that's just I think it's just one more thing to worry about. And it's just like there's a lot that makes it tough to go for that. But also I don't want to force a relationship that I'm not truly happy in.
Yeah, never, because it's not fun, I'm guessing, for both parties either.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But I think we should wrap it up, dude. We've been talking for 51 minutes.
No way, man.
Yeah, 51 minutes just
flew by. Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, so I'll actually have to get all your links, all the stuff that you want to promote.
Sure.
I need one of those T-shirts.
T-shirts Sunday.
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 All right, I got my money ready, and I'll come up to you. I'll even help you. I'll even help you deliver them if you need help.
Yeah.
But yes, so Brandon's got his own brand, and he's gonna be releasing some T-shirts. So definitely anyone that is interested in getting some lifting T-shirts or running T-shirts, these are great, and also they're just helping out a good cause.
They're a great way to
businesses.
I mean, I won't bullshit here. It's like they aren't the absolute best top tier quality. I'm not trying to be like a sports T-shirt brand quality, but they're a great way to share the message and share the brand. There's a really good quote on one of them that it's this idea that real strength comes from within, and that's one thing I like to tell my clients when training. You know, it's like you get in, you have a really good workout, and you know you see people lifting all sorts of weights, and like sometimes it's more than you, sometimes it's less you. Yeah, someone may be on paper stronger than you, but maybe that real strength is just about having the effort and having the intention to try in the first place, to go for a little bit more weight, or to go for that PR, or to even just show up in the gym in the first place. Yeah. And so just being able to foster that self-belief to take action and that commitment to a healthier lifestyle and setting your own intentions about it, you know, we can live so much better lives. Hell
yeah. So that's the message behind the T-shirt. Definitely the dope ass, they're sick design.
Vintage vibes.
Yeah, they're vintage. But also with that, I love the design of the forklift because it's like,
right?
Have you heard the joke? It's like
forklift certified.
You're in the presence of a forklift certified.
It actually it came from a joke with my brother because he's forklift certified.
Me too. So that's why I want to get that one. I'm probably gonna get 2 of those actually for my brother because my brother's also he was forklift. I was actually at the same job where we got forklift certified.
Yeah.
But let's wrap this up. Definitely glad having Brandon.
Yeah, man, this was great.
We'll try and loop back and get you on the next 2 seasons or something like that. Because I got a lot of people coming in this season. So, yes, it's amazing. I'll link all of his stuff, and yeah, we'll get out of here. All right. Dude, that was freaking awesome.
Wu-Tang. Woo! He just swallowed the roast, motherfucker.
Taking pictures of people that stop
what about
by.
all the illegal drugs you do in your garage?
Oh, there's no illegal drugs in my garage.
Oh, yes, there is, and there's evidence of it.
Hello there.
Woo, woo.
Hello,
There's
darling.
no illegal drugs on my property.
Hello,
Well, yes, there are.
sweetheart.